Yes guys, and welcome to RGHandhelds for another edition of today we're going to take a look at the cool little Miyoo devices. You're probably wondering why there's so many here. Well guys, if you remember the old BitBoy, I'm sure a lot of you know the BitBoy handheld, which was similar in design, but they did actually release quite a few of them. Simply just different revisions, hardware changes, and externally. So you can see we've got version 1 here, version 2, and a newer version 3 for the Miyoo Mini. For the white one, you have version 1 here, version 2, and this is just a main board that I simply kept for show, to be honest. Basically because the ribbon connector here, I don't know if you can actually see it, got damaged. So I'll just keep that as a souvenir, which is cool to have. But today I just want to do a quick talk over what actual changes have been made to these different versions to better help those that want to buy a Miyoo Mini and how to identify what version they have or what version they are getting. So here we go guys. So here on the top left, of course, you have the version 1. So the version 1, as you all know, takes the removable battery here, you can see there, and a very noticeable feature of version 1 is it has 4 screw holes here. You can clearly see 4 screw holes there, and the removable battery. So that is how to identify a version 1. Actually, let's just leave that off and we'll come back to that. Version 2, you can see from version 1 to version 2 there were a few case modifications, a few screw holes removed from the battery bay. Sorry, we got this the wrong way around. That is the version 3. This is the version 2. Let's just get that open. So you can see there guys what I mean. So version 2, sorry, version 1, version 2. Let's put them around this way so we don't get confused. Version 1, version 2. So if you remove the battery and you have 4 screw holes like that, you have a version 1. If you remove the battery and you only have 2 screw holes, you can see that remove the 2, you have a version 2. So that is how to actually identify you know, the main difference from a version 1, version 2. I don't know if the color changed. I don't know if you can see there's a variation in color, but I'm pretty sure compared to version 3 there is some sort of little difference. But yeah, apart from the few screw holes removed from the battery bay, a slight aesthetic tweak to the volume wheel, I believe. So you have the volume wheel here. Don't know if you can see that. Apparently there was a little change to the volume wheel. I don't know if it was how it feels yet. This one feels very soft. This one feels a lot firmer. So that's one thing that changed as well. And larger holes for the buttons to avoid the grinding sticking. So a lot of you probably noticed these buttons on the version 1. When you press in these, they might stick in, but on the version 2, they made these holes around here a little bigger, just so you don't get that grinding. I don't know if you can see there. You can see the wider hole around the buttons on this version, so you don't get that grinding feel. Apart from that, guys, there wasn't really anything else changed. I noticed on the version 1 the D-pad is nice and firm, quite firm, and it's got slightly softer on a version 2 here. I can feel it. So that's another thing that I think that has changed. So let's go ahead and just pop these back in here. Doesn't matter really what battery goes in what. The batteries are exactly the same. The screens are exactly the same as well, guys. So there wasn't changed anything with the screen as far as I'm aware. But one interesting thing for these is on the version 3 now. You'll probably know you have this newer version 3. So the main difference from a version 2 to a version 3 is we have the newer battery. Now they've decided to make this removable battery. You can see a connector here, simply plugs out and you remove the battery. So I guess it might suit some people. You can see the specs on the battery there. It's a 2000 milliamp, 7.4 watts and 3.7 volts. That's one of the main features that has changed between the two version 1s and version 2s, is the removable battery. Some may not prefer this, some may prefer the removability of using a phone battery, which might be simpler to source rather than trying to find a battery that fits into here. So it's down to your own personal preference, guys, what you really would prefer. This guide is just to tell you and show you what the changes are. I'm trying to get this battery out because apparently there's a hole there. There it is. The famous hole, as you can see, guys. So basically this hole is not present on the version 1 or version 2. And I did ask the manufacturer, what is the hole for? And their response was basically, is to relieve the pressure off the ribbon cable. Maybe they had some issues with the back cover pressing down on the ribbon cable and causing screen issues. So this is the main reason. Let's get close up on that. There you go, guys, the hole. Yep, that is the main reason I was told for that hole. Good job it's covered, isn't it? Well, anyway, guys, so as I was saying, version 2, version 3 is the new battery, redesigned battery housing. So you can see all this housing has been redesigned from the version 2 and version 1. It's got a deeper introduction to the hole. The hole meaning the hole I just showed you. So that's another story on its own. But one other main difference, guys, that has been mentioned is now it has a cool laminated screen. So you can see the screen on the version 1s here. You can see the lamination on this one. Don't know if you've seen that, guys. It's actually OCA laminated, they call it, which gives it a nice laminated feel to the screen, and you can see it's raised slightly more higher than the trying to get a good angle for you guys so you can see that difference. A lot of you probably know what a laminated screen is. And the border has shrunk, apparently. You have a border here. See this border around the screen? It's actually shrunk a little. I don't know. Let's see if we can just switch these on so you might be able to see a little bit better for that. Also, I noticed the D-pad is extremely softer on the version 3 now compared to the version 1 and version 2. I feel they're a lot softer. That might be a good thing, guys. You know, maybe you like the softness. Of course, we have onions on these. You just cannot beat the Onions OS. I highly recommend you guys upgrade to the stock firmware. Probably not the latest stock firmware. I would skip the latest. Just get to one before the latest and drop Drop on Onions version 3.8, I believe, is the latest now. Good job to the guys out there. They're doing an amazing job. So anyway, guys, I don't know if you can actually see there the borders I'm talking about. Just make sure we got the right version here, because yeah, so that's that one. There you go. Looking at it, I'm not quite too sure about this. This border looks smaller than this border, so I think the border is actually grown on the version 3. This is definitely a version 3. Let me know what you think, guys. Looking at this one, the border is actually slightly bigger and thinner on this one, so I'm not too sure what's going on there. Apparently it was shrunk, but anyway, that is the version 2, version 3. Let's compare it to this one. There you go. Again, I think this border looks a bit bigger than this one, maybe because of that laminated screen now. You know, they had to put a little slightly bigger border on it. Doesn't look that much bigger of a border, but compared to version 2, compared to version 1. So that is only the major differences, guys, that I have found between these. Now we have a version 1 white one here, just to prove it to you guys. We remove the battery. You see again the 4 holes that I mentioned. If you have them 4 holes, you have a version 1. Just fire that up. So this has onions on it as well. Just drop that there. And I'll just prove it to you again. Version 3, the newer battery, as I told you. And the hole is, what's interesting is they've made that hole, instead of round, square. So I guess this is a version 4 now, guys, maybe. I just showed you the hole on the version 3 grey one. It was round. You can see clearly they made it smaller and square. So they seem to be changing these like the weather. So be prepared, guys, for a version 4, 5, 6 and so on. Again, the D-pad I feel is extremely softer, maybe for the better. For gaming, I find it very accurate. These holes have gone bigger around the edges. Like I say, the main improvements, what I have just told you guys. So let's go through the main differences once again. So version 1 to version 2 had case modifications, a few screw holes removed from the battery bay, slight aesthetic tweaks to the volume wheel, larger holes for the buttons to avoid grinding sticking. So from version 2 to version 3, new battery, redesigned battery housing, and you have that hole in the back behind the battery, the hole, or the square you call it, for taking some stress off that ribbon cable. And of course, the last thing is that laminated screen. So this is a version 3, this is a version 3. They both have laminated screens, and you can see the border is exactly the same on both of them. You got the same size border for both of them. So guys, that is basically the main differences for all these versions. I hope I have helped you decide which version you want, and what version you think is better. Let me know on the comments in the channel what you think, what version looks better or what would be better. I think the color has slightly changed. Now you can see the color differences, guys. Can you see this one's a bit lighter? That's what I think anyway. But let me know. What we're gonna do is just quickly show you a few things you can get for the Miyoo devices. So this is the cool case you actually get with the new. You actually get this case with a version 2 or a version 3. You will not get this case with a version 1. You'll have to buy it separately. In the case, you'll get a manual. You'll get a data cable. You'll get your memory card. And I think you get a little USB card reader. There you go, 2.0. That's what you actually get in the actual. So they don't actually supply the box anymore since version 2 or version 3. I think if you ask for the box, they might send it to you, but I'd prefer this, you know, purely so you can carry it around. So that's one case, guys, and the other case is this cool little case that I bought a while ago. You can see it fits beautifully into the case and just shuts down lovely. Great little case for carrying around. It's actually a case for playing card, pack of playing cards. I will put the links in the video, guys, for the stuff you can get. But that's quite nice. It's very soft lining in there, guys, so you won't damage the device. So that's another cool thing. And I just want to quickly go over the spares you can get for the Miyoos. Firstly, if you broke that screen, guys, you can contact Miyoo and they'll send you out this. Basically a front with the screen attached. You can see there, you simply pull that away and connect the motherboard into there. Everything's already in place. You just swap over your buttons, your D-pad, and so and so. The speaker's already in there for you. So this is how it actually comes, which is pretty cool. I believe this is a version 1 or version 2 screen. Front doesn't really matter. It will fit version 1 or version 2, but I guess it won't fit the version 3. Maybe, unless there's some internal changes that we don't know about. So that's a replacement front you can request from Miyoo. Let's see what else we have in here. Another thing is you can actually, if you ever break the screen, this is a Blackberry screen, Blackberry Bold 9900. I basically have replaced one of these with, because the screen conked out, I broke it on this one, so I had to get a replacement screen. I received these screens, very cheap to buy, very easy to fit. You can see it uses the same connector. Excuse me. You can see it uses the same connector. This particular one, here's the model number, and it's a 001. There is a 002, and I can confirm that works fine as well, because I have tried them both. And one of these white ones, this one, has the Blackberry screen in it, which is working perfectly. So that's another thing, guys. If you don't want to go to this route and buy the whole thing, simply get a Blackberry Bold 9900 screen, used off eBay, pretty cheap. So that's that. What else do we have in the goodie bag? So speakers, guys, as I was saying, speakers. Now in the forum, in our Discord, a lot of guys posted these Redmi speakers, saying that they are actually louder. So this is an option if you want to go to that route and get a bit more loudness. Can't guarantee they will be louder, but there's been reports of them being a lot louder than the stock speakers. I actually think the newer versions, version 3, come with these as standard now. You know, but it's a lot of testing different speakers and testing different versions to see how loud they are. What we can do is just put up the volume on these. I think I have the actual sound volume in the settings set right down anyway, so that won't be very good. So speakers, guys, that is the speakers. Very easy to fit. They have connectors. They only go in one way, and you stick them down. You peel this off and you stick them down. Very simple to change, but be extremely careful, guys, when you're playing about with the ribbon cable, because I found that out when I started messing around and just yanked it out, and I completely broke the ribbon cable off the screen and I damaged this. So now I'll be a lot more careful. This is pretty cool. I kept the old board just for a souvenir. As you can see here, guys, that is the main board. Pretty cool. So what else? I just want to show you some spares that I requested some spares off the guys and asked them nicely if they could send me some spares. You can see here it says version 3, so this would be for the newer version 3 spares and repairs. They've sent me quite a bit of stuff. So this will be the membrane for the buttons. You can see there. You got your buttons, the actual buttons. These will only fit version 3 as they made the holes slightly wider. So you'll probably have a job getting them into a version 1. Here's the D-pad, guys. Version 3 D-pads maybe. I don't know if they actually changed anything between the D-pads. So these might fit all the versions, I'm not sure. They sent me some power buttons, start and select buttons, and reset buttons, which will be handy. Power buttons for white and for the grey. For version 3, guys, again, like I say, version 3. More membranes here. Loads of stuff that you can use for doing some modding. Now I don't want to get these spares mixed up because I believe I have some version 1, version 2 spares here as well. Let's just see what we got in this one. More or less the same. You got the buttons there, which are going to be slightly not so wider for the and then you got the rubbers. The rubbers look exactly same to me between the two versions. Maybe a bit different. You can see it's got that loop and this one doesn't. That's interesting. So it looks like they have changed the actual rubbers as well. So guys, keep that in mind when you're getting spares. They have changed the internal rubber. You can see clearly there. So maybe this will not fit into version 1. Version 3 will not fit into a version 1, version 2. Trying to keep these away from there so I don't get mixed them up. So that's it, guys. That basically completes the whole guide for getting your different versions and knowing what different versions are out there. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed the video. Let me know your comments on what you think, guys, on the different versions. And I will see you soon. Peace.